Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. We'll talk about Huda. We'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home.
It's 8:30 in Nigeria, 9:30 in Cairo, and 11:30 in the Gulf. But you guys know what time it is. It's time for Viewers Pulse. Alhamdulillah, thank you guys for tuning in to the Pulse, and thank you as always for supporting Huda TV. I certainly hope you caught that last episode of Ask Huda just half an hour ago. I got the pending questions right here, which I will forward to the Sheikh. So if he didn't ask your questions on this episode, he will next time, inshallah. Having said that, you guys know our phone numbers. It's on the screen there, 002023855248 55248 or 9. You guys give us a call, and I will be more than pleased to speak with you, inshallah. Don't forget the other information. You guys know it, like the Facebook or the email rather, pulse@huda.tv, which should also appear on your screen shortly, pulse@huda.tv. I answered like 20 emails today. Please just send it one time. You guys, I get the same email 3-4 times. So please, inshallah, just send it one time, inshallah, and give me a week or so to get back to you. Having said that, Facebook, support us on Facebook.com/huda.tv, as well as the individual pages. And I'm rushing through this because we have a special guest, okay? Also, Skype, Huda_TV, and we do have a new YouTube channel, you guys, Huda Satellite TV. Please support it, subscribe to it, watch the videos, Huda Satellite TV. We will upload everything, inshallah, to our new official YouTube channel, Huda Satellite TV. Having said that, let's get into the episode. We have a very, very special guest. He is the director of Australia Center for Islamic Finance, as well as a lecturer at La Trobe University. He is a new face to Huda TV, and he's in the process of filming an all-new program talking about Islamic finance. You saw it on Ummah tonight. Of course, I'm talking about Brother Elmer Kolan. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Elmer. How are you?
Alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah. Very well.
Hey, I'm very happy to have you on this program. And like I said on this program, like I spoke with you before the episode, we're just giving people insight into the programs that are up and coming and new on Huda TV. And before we do that, we want to give them a little insight about the person presenting the show, so they can kind of get a background and a feel for the program. So perhaps you can start by telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got into and how you got interested in Islamic finance, where you got your education, and tell us a little bit about yourself, the viewers that is.
Originally, I was never interested in finance of any kind. I mean, that was the last thing in my mind. Finance, oh my God, such a boring. Why would anyone want to know about finance? It was such a dry topic.
Yeah, right.
Originally, I was interested in every other subject. By nature, I think I'm activist. So I got early in 90s involved in Dawah. We started organizations, and this was a time of when Dawah was really at its peak, and we were like on the wings. We wanted to learn everything. We were with Sheikh sitting full time for 10-15 years. Actually, for more than 10 years, I was learning classical sciences. You know, we would sit with the Sheikh, read a book, go words by words, see this, all of these normal things. You know, and I noticed whenever we would go on the Kitab al-Buyu or something, the number would kind of decrease.
Right.
But I got a desire, like, let me actually get, this is very logical science, and it fits in the whole scheme of things.
The finance.
Finance.
Right.
So besides being activist, I also loved psychology.
Right.
Psychology, and in my training at university, I started engineering.
Right.
Because I love to figure out how things work.
Yeah.
So when I combine this activism, finance, I also love the usul fiqh, like my Sheikh says, this is like a management of your thoughts.
Yeah,
you know, when you go through that. And I love that description. So this all sciences somehow came together into the finance.
Yeah, mashallah.
Very unusual. So this is how I end up learning more, and I say alhamdulillah that I learned Islam before I started learning Islamic finance.
Yes, mashallah.
You know? And this is, I think, when we then, I did the master in the first in management and business, then in finance, and then in Islamic banking and finance, another master. So I kind of completed both sides, so understanding what is Islamic finance. Of course, from classical, even until today, I go to, whether it's Islamic countries like Qatar, for example, to take a course here and there in some specialized area. Online, I take, again, I consider myself as a student, although I teach at a university.
Right.
But even now, for example, I take online class from Sheikh Zaraboza. You know, he's doing like 6-7 semesters just on fiqh of finance, and I benefit hugely from these authorities and this intelligence that is out there. So really, I consider myself as somebody who is very eager to learn these things. So this is how I end up, and I hope that I understand a little bit how it works.
But the way you describe Islamic finance to me, it's actually fascinating and amazing, really. So perhaps let's talk about your program now. I believe you tentatively titled it Islamic Finance, but I'm not sure if you settled on that. Tell us, first of all, who is the target audience for this program and why?
Target audience in reality are, in my mind, youth who are between 15 and 30.
Okay.
That's a number one. And also those who are professionals who work as accountants, financial planners, bankers, and policy makers and so on. So there are two sides of these things. Okay. On one side, we encourage entrepreneurship, opening your mindset that you want to be upper hand, work, get busy, add value. You know, so we encourage these sorts of attitudes towards money and the finance. To have aspiration, what you want to do. And also we teach technical, what is allowed, what is not allowed. But this is secondary in my mind. The first is that entrepreneurship spirit that we want youth to actually start doing, being constructive, you know, so that we can build the capacity for them to change around themselves situation and what is going on.
So although you will be explaining what is permissible and impermissible for individual people, but the main purpose we can say is to instill that spirit of entrepreneurship in a halal way. So I think that is amazing. Having said that, you know so much about Islamic finance from what I've heard from you speak, and you really make it interesting. And you know, I've heard other people speak about it, and it sounds a bit dry, like you said, but you make it come to life. Having said that, did you study conventional finance? How, in order to compare and contrast it with Islamic finance?
While I was getting education, obviously, in other Islamic sciences, I purposely studied conventional with Islamic. Reason is that sometimes you need to know the tricks in conventional. What are the dangers? What are the problems? Because these tend to be replicated in Islamic finance.
Okay. So in order to know, because sometimes we, perhaps a scholar has learned something theoretically, but then when he gets on the ground, he can't apply that learning to the modern world. Is that, do you agree with that?
Exactly. I mean, I was in a bank recently, Islamic financial institution, just recently, and I was reviewing some, like a contract arrangement. And I realized something is not right. You see, most of the people there around me, they've been doing Islamic finance and classically understand this, but I felt that something is wrong until I started drilling, and this conventional understanding was clear to me that this is not Sharia compliant arrangement, whether it's how it was calculated, how it was structured. And I think you cannot really understand and appreciate Islamic finance until you see a reality of what is the conventional finance as well. So you have to know both. Ignorance will not help you. In fact, if you don't know Jahiliyyah and things like that, you will fall into it.
Of course. So you said in order to stay away from being naive and for appreciation of Islamic finance, I believe that's an excellent point. We do have a short clip, and then I want to, when we get back to this clip, I would like you to explain it. Then I want to talk to you about honest mistakes, perhaps in the Islamic finance field, and how we should blame, individuals who make mistakes. But Islamic finance is something that's coming from the Quran and the Sunnah, so it's perfect. So I want to talk about that. But let's check out this clip, you guys at home, and we're going to have Brother Amir Kolen talk about it on his all-new program about Islamic finance. So check it out.
There is no one in Islam or anywhere else who blames the Prophet or who don't want to see that Prophet. So we are all, we want that, that's fine, that, we are not against the Prophet. What we are against is how do you make that Prophet? What sort of steps you do, and how do you use money in that situation? Because we don't want money to be used in a way that go against the nature of money as a medium of exchange, something you buy and sell with, fulfills this function. In fact, in Islam, for money to be useful, we have to convert it, as you will see in this program. We will discuss this in detail. Money must be converted to something that is useful in itself. And then That's something which we, let's say, call asset. That asset then can be sold or leased, or you can make use of it. To make what? To make a tea, to make a profit. Okay, and this is where you will find fundamental difference between Islamic finance and any other kind of finance. It comes fundamentally on the way you use money.
So before we talk about the content, the format of the show, you're standing up and you have students there. Can you explain the format of the show itself a little bit, the structure?
Well, I find it is maybe more interesting if we have students and then we can interact, they can ask questions.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed something or something needs more explanation.
Right.
I love that. I need that feedback.
Yeah.
I don't want dead studio where there is no one I'm talking to the camera. It doesn't work with me.
It doesn't work for all of us because you don't know how. I agree with you. You need that interaction. Well put. So you're talking about profit. You said everybody wants to make a profit, but we want to know how do we make the profit. So what do you mean by that?
Well, fundamentally what we mean by that is that there is nothing wrong with making profit. That's the purpose of business. If you want to be upper hand, like Prophet ﷺ said, that this is the better, and if you want to sustain yourself, as Fuqaha of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah say that earning and working up to the level where you can support yourself is something that is a must, specifically for the men, and not just earning to support yourself, but those you are legally responsible. Now, if we want to discharge this obligation, we have to go business. We have to make money.
Right.
And this is, like Quran tells us, if you spend from the good things you earn, how do you spend if you don't earn? So this gives us that we must earn. And how we do that? Through a legitimate way. Not by pushing the money like in conventional banking, where money is treated as a commodity, which is bought and sold, but rather in a way that makes money work. There's some risk, reward, assets, real things involved.
That's why you said money in itself isn't useful.
That's right. Money in itself does not have what we say utility. So to make use of money, we must buy something else, convert it into something that is useful, and then this asset is bought and sold, and we make profit from that.
Because now we say this American dollar is a piece of paper with a promise of a certain value, but in itself it has no utility. So we want to transfer it to a tangible.
Even if it was back to gold.
Right.
As a medium of exchange, as a money, not as a gold, as a commodity, as a money medium of exchange,
right.
It has to be converted into something. You can't build a house with it. You have to buy material. You can't eat. You have to, like like Hassan al-Basri said, money is such a friend that only benefits you when it leaves you. When it's converted to something else.
Right, useful, mashallah. We have to take a short break. You guys stay with us. So we have a wonderful conversation about Islamic banking and finance. So stay tuned.
In a game of golf, both the caddy and the golfer have the same goal, to get the ball into the hole. Interest-free banking is similar. With a clear view of the fairway, a predefined agreement without shifting targets, things should end up where you want them. Your deposits are safe, and your funds are ethically managed with a transparent and equitable approach to sharing risk and reward. No interest burden means more time to relax without the worry of nasty surprises. Rest assured, our interest is mutual. Jaiz Bank, Nigeria's first full-fledged non-interest bank.
Every time you sit for halqa or dhikr, especially in the masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide us with the following. نزلت عليهم السكينة, tranquility. You feel like peace of mind, comfort for your eyes whenever you're sitting in the halqa in the masjid. غشيتهم الرحمة, Allah covers this gathering with His mercy. وحفتهم الملائكة, that was stated in the previous hadith, and the angels will surround them. وذكرهم الله في من عنده. Don't miss Dr. Muhammad Salah's all-new weekly program, Gardens of the Pious, live from 9 to 10 p.m. Mecca time every Wednesday night, only on Huda TV.
right, you guys, welcome back to the Pulse. We're still here with Brother Amir Kolan. Brother, thank you so much for your time. I'm having an interesting conversation with you, learning more about Islamic economics. What about some specific topics on your new program, which you're recording now, next to the studio, actually right here in the same studio, right behind the camera is the decor there. What are some specific topics that you've already addressed in the first 5 or 6 episodes that you filmed, and what are some topics that you'll get into, inshallah?
Number one, we start with the basic Islamic law of contracts, because we say that riba and trades fundamentally 2 different things.
Okay.
Therefore, you need to understand certain issues when it comes to contract. What you can buy, how you do things. Then, who are the parties in the contract? What are their rights, responsibility? How is this executed? What is the end result of executing contract in a specific way? Okay. After we look at these things, we look at the specific prohibition in muamalat, which are our business dealings, mutual dealings. Okay. We look at the prohibitions, such as, for example, gharar, uncertainty, riba, 2-in-1 contracts, all of these things, buying and selling what you don't have. Then we go in specific modes of financing, murabaha, musharaka, salam, istisna, how these all things work. Then we connect these in the bank. How does it work in a bank? Can I buy the shares? Can I invest in gold? Can I do this? Can I buy this, that on credit, on spot, and so on? So there is lots of topics, lots of different things that, you know, if you are running small business, want to do something, doing certain transactions, as most of the scholars say, up to the level where you are involved in these business transactions, it become a must to know rulings on these matters.
Is at least up to the level that you're involved.
Involved, that's right. That's a minimum.
So this program will benefit, you don't have to be a scholar looking to learn about, this benefits you as an individual Muslim who would like to make sure and verify his transactions are permissible.
That's right.
Yeah, and for learning in general.
You know, you go buy something on eBay, you know, can I buy jewelry on eBay?
Right.
You know, there is, you know, so is this permissible?
Right.
I do simple things, you know, in everyday life, I need to know.
Right, of course.
Is this something that is okay or not?
And I venture to say probably 25% of the questions on Ask Huda we receive from our viewers from all around the world are regarding bank contracts from bank loans from Islamic banks. And this is, so perhaps this will clarify for the viewers the first episodes about the contract, how that exactly works. What about, let's look at some Islamic institutions. Now we see Islamic banks, mashallah, popping up around the world. We should always remind our viewers, Islamic finance is perfect, and there's no mistake in that because it's divine revelation. Although sometimes people make mistakes, a sheikh may make a mistake, perhaps this was written wrong or this was, but this is not a point against Islamic finance, rather this is a point against us because we're still preparing ourselves really to show Islamic finance to the world.
That's right. You see that there is principles of Islamic banking and finance and how you apply these principles. And sometimes what we are looking, especially when I consult with some of these businesses, is there real trade taking place? Is this just synthetic arrangements in the contracts, or is there something real happening? You know, because we know that there is difference between trade and riba. However, what is real trade? How it is taking place? And what we want from the bank is to have skin in the game.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, bank must have some risk to get the return.
Yes.
You can't be divorced from risk. That's what we see in global financial crisis. People were structuring things, no risk, and they destabilize entire system.
Okay, excellent point. I like what you said, skin in the game, meaning there has to be a risk, and we have to take care about synthetic movements. I mean, we have to have real action.
That's right.
Yeah, excellent point. We have another clip from your program. You guys, let's check it out, and we'll get the Brother Amir Kolan, the director of the Australian Center for Islamic Finance. We'll get his thoughts on that, so stay tuned.
You will realize that there are 2 extremes whenever somebody talks about money. One is that all negative characteristics, and another one is all positive and the best. Okay? And in Islam, in fact, when you think about money, that's why we call wealth fitna, which means like a trial. It takes you left or right, depends what's inside of you.
Explain that clip a little bit, brother. What do you mean by by that, what you said there?
So money by itself is just like a tool. Now, the way you use tool, as Sheikh Muhammad Sharif once said in his lecture, it's something, money is something that magnifies what's in your heart. So whatever is in your heart, it will be amplified by the way you use money.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called fitna. Wealth is fitna.
Yeah, because it's a test.
It's a test. It's a trial. Take you left or right.
Yeah, I like that. That's a wonderful point. You know, I hear people say in Islamic finance, you can't simply sell a product that you don't own. So what about stocks and bonds and this sort of thing? And Wall Street, aren't we playing with numbers and figures? We don't own that, right?
Well, this is a tough one. Let's forget a little bit Wall Street for a second. In general, idea of a stock, of a share, is that this represents real ownership in the company, like what we have in Musharaka, for example. So this represents some real ownership. Now, to buy shares in a specific company, now we're not looking at any specific way. For instance, company is doing mining. We first look at what sort of business, core business they are in. Mining is something that's Sharia compliant.
Okay.
Now, once we clear that issue, we look at the financial ratios. And that is, the scholars devise certain rules, and this is a matter of ijtihad, but they are looking at, is there an interest attached to this as a profit? Because you see, for example, mining must be, could be halal, but there's lots of cash sitting in the bank account. Number one problem is, if it is not invested in the right way, it's an interest generating asset. Also, if it is lots of cash, then when I buy and sell, if there is a lots of it, this become intangible asset, meaning if I'm negotiating the price of the shares that has lots of cash or receivables, intangible assets, what I'm doing is I'm negotiating the price of the money. And this is what we see, riba al-fadl, meaning that you take specific amount of money and you buy it with a different amount of money. So this could be a problem. So that's why we have screening where the scholars screen the shares before they are bought and sold.
Yes, subhanAllah, okay.
But in reality, it does represent ownership, although it's not clear-cut.
Okay, so it's a case-by-case basis, we can say.
Yes, you need to screen them, yes.
Oh, okay. And what about, brother, this issue of riba or interest? It seems like it's become confused these days, and it's very difficult for the average person to understand it, to the point where many people say, you know what, I don't want to hear about it anymore. I don't understand it. You know, people have given up even. I see this, unfortunately, in some Muslim countries. So do you address this issue? Do you clearly define what does riba mean in your program?
A riba is specific type of a contract where you have, for example, as Prophet ﷺ said, when you exchange gold, for example, which is like for like.
Right.
It must be equal to equal and must be hand to hand.
But then why would you do that? Why would you exchange an equal amount?
Right. Whenever you exchange money, your purpose is to get you to the position where you want to trade after. Okay, so if I came to Egypt, I need to exchange Australian dollar for another currency or anyway. We don't want that you make, this is facilitating type of transaction. We don't want to make profit from this, where money gives birth to another money.
Okay.
This
is wrong.
That is completely wrong. However, what I want with this money in reality is to buy some property or the things that I need. So riba comes in this contract where the similar things are exchanged, and usually what you see is I will give you then some time in order for increase later. So this creates a certain anomaly. Where you see the credit grows. That's why you have now derivatives and the products, and interest is much more in economy than real money, real economy. It's 12 times more than whole assets that we produce on the planet Earth. And this is where that distortion. Of course, historically, I mean, abusing people, taking their money, this can be all done in this.
You know, even this has been apparent to people all around the world, regardless of what religious background they come from. They now see the evils of riba. Having said that, we only have a couple minutes left. Give me some insight into where you reside in Australia. Do you see Islamic finance growing there, popular among non-Muslims?
We see, I have, for example, now I'm doing the course online where amongst 140 students, we have about 10 even non-Muslims.
Great.
So we see lots of government is introducing new measures to address taxation in order to facilitate for Islamic finance. Now, many people see opportunities. This will benefit Muslims and other people. This is a different way of doing the finance. And of course, we don't underestimate that people want to tap into this liquidity that exists in the Middle East due to the booming oil prices and so on.
Of course.
So people have different intentions, government have different intentions, people have, but the idea is that especially in Australia, where we are surrounded with hundreds of millions of Muslims, This is very interesting for future of Australia. We have Malaysians, Indonesians, and by the time I fly to Cairo from Melbourne, I go over 900 million Muslims. So we're having the trade, business, other relationship, and this is becoming more and more prominent.
Yeah, mashallah. Can you, we have about 30 seconds left, can you give the viewers some information if they would like to learn about Islamic finance? Where can they go online? Do you have a website with your organization down there?
We have organization, Australian Center for Islamic Finance. You can just Google or AUSCIF.com. You can find more information. We have YouTube clips. You can subscribe to podcasts. And there are some books available for download.
Inshallah. Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing your program, inshallah.
Thank you very much. Assalamu
alaikum. You guys at home, thank you for watching the Pulse. And you guys, really, we're going to be airing this program soon, inshallah. I'll let you know when it does broadcast. The brother has just wrapped up a 5th or 6th episode. You don't want to miss it. It's educational and interesting and fun. I know you probably think finance is a dry topic, but believe me, it's exciting the way he speaks about it. So you don't want to miss that only on Huda TV. Having said that, remember to watch our YouTube, subscribe to our new YouTube channel, Huda Satellite TV. Huda Satellite TV. Please subscribe it and share it on your social media. Having said that, I guess that's all I have for you guys. So until next time, I leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. We'll talk about Huda. We'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home.